What I want to do for the next few hours is I want to work you through the process of putting together a multiple light studio. We're going to start simple. We're going to start with 2 flashes, and I've got a bunch of different scenarios for how to use 2 flashes. Here in the studio audience, you guys, if you have an idea or if you have a specific type of light modifier you want to see, just call it out. We'll bring that light modifier in. To start out, I think I'm just going to start using 2 umbrellas. We'll keep it really easy right at the beginning. What type of scenarios are we going to use, or what type of scenarios are we going to light? I'm going to show you how to use a key light with a fill. So we're going to do key and fill. We're going to do a key with a hair light. We're going to do a key with a background light. I'm going to show you what a clamshell lighting scenario looks like. And then we'll talk about this concept of Rembrandt lighting. You'll hear this a lot in the world of photography. Rembrandt light, it's a very specific light where we get this kind of triangle of light on the cheek. And I'll show you how to create that. Because we only have 2 lights, you're not going to be able to see the full effect of a big studio lighting production, but that's okay. That's what we're here to learn. We're going to be using the bricks, the brick wall over here today. I'm going to mix that up a little bit. So let's go ahead and get started. To start out, what I'd like to do is I'd like to, when I bring the model up, I'm going to have the model start out maybe right up against the wall, just to show you what it looks like to have someone against the wall. You don't always have to have your subject 6 feet away or 10 feet away, okay? Sometimes it actually looks good to have someone right up against the wall. It can create a neat shadow effect. You can do lots of interesting things with that. So to start out, we'll start out with the key light and the fill with the person against the wall. Then I'll do the same shot with the person moved about 6 feet away from the wall, so you get a feel for how that works. The wall here is white, okay? The background color, the background brightness should play a big role in how you decide to position your model in the studio, okay? Brighter backdrops will reflect light. They will become a part of the photo. Darker backdrops will fade away. If I used a black backdrop, like this black, I have a roll of black seamless over here. We'll use that in a little while. You can almost put the person right up next to that and you won't even really see the backdrop. So be thinking about whether or not you want that background to be included in the photograph as well. With that, I think we're ready. So let me piece together the lighting equipment first. Actually, why don't we do this? Why don't I piece it together while we have a model up in the scene with us? So any of the 4 of you desiring to have a stand-up brick wall shot? All right. She's in the brick house. Love it.
Up against the wall.
Up against the wall. All right. Did she commit the crime? Who knows? All right. So just starting out, you can just stand there. You can even relax for a minute or so while I get the lighting set up. But I'd like to have you here positionally so I can talk about how to put these lights in. I've got 2 umbrellas. To make this really easy today, I've got the 42-inch umbrella here, and then I've got the 32-inch umbrella there. So which one should be the key and which one should be the fill? So now I want to introduce this concept of designing light for the subject. Okay, so as you're looking at your subject as the person here, you need to be thinking, well, what do I want that photo to exude? Does she look tough, craggy? She's soft, gentle? She have a nice smile? Is she young? Is she old? What do you want the photo to look like? And a lot of times that's through a dialogue with your client. So let's just say that we want this photo to look, I don't know. Fun. Okay, fun. So festive. So this is a brighter photo overall. So in general, the lights are going to be brighter. I'm going to use more fill. I'm going to use a brighter fill. If she was more serious, she was darker, heavier, countenance, I would not put a lot of fill on maybe the side of the face. It'd be this deep, dark shadow. So I can change the mood depending on the type of lights that I use and the brightness of those lights. So we're going to do fun. We're going to do happy. And we'll use, just because I feel like it, I'm going to put the fill over here. So this is going to be fill, high fill. And this is key. Alicia. Key. All right. How close should they be? Oh, close-ish. The rule of thumb is that you position the light about as far away as the largest dimension of the light. 42-inch umbrella, about 42 inches away from her face-ish. So that's about 3 or 4 feet away. So something like that. How high should it be? Well, I need to be above her head so I get those nice catch lights in her eye. So bring this up about like that. And I want that shaft to kind of be pointing right towards her face. Now, the fill, there's a lot of variability with the fill. The fill can go all over the place. Fill can be low, can be high, can be far away, it can be close. And again, we'll just see if the photo looks bright and happy where it's at, then we'll leave it. If it doesn't, we'll change fill. All right, next I'm going to grab a couple flashes. We've tested the flashes out. They all work, I promise. And what we've got is I've got my radio triggers. So I'm going to turn the radio triggers on. I'll turn all the flashes on. The flash I'm setting to manual power. And just to start out, I'm going to put them at about 1/16 power. Just a guess, but I'm feeling like now that we've got 2 flashes in the setup, 1/16 should be about right. So 1/16 power on that one. And then this one, turn on my radio trigger, turn the flash on, and go to control the power, and turn that one also to 1/16. Is just a guess. And I've got them about equal power because she said she wanted a happier photo. Equal lighting on fill and key. All right, put those in the light stand. I'll turn it this way so you can see what I'm doing. With the studio, there's all this fiddly stuff you got to do. And it's just part and parcel of running a studio. Sometimes it's nice to have this set up before the client comes in. But for the purpose of teaching the class today, I just like to talk through it in real time. But ideally, you don't want the client sitting there waiting for you to put lights on the stand. Just try to get it done ahead of time. You can see I've got the diffusion domes on these flashes to basically fill up the interior of the umbrellas. Okay, that's on. It says manual 1/16. This one's on, green lights all around. And does that say manual 1/16?
I believe so.
Okay. Yeah, I think so, sure.
Maybe time for new glasses.
Yeah, new glasses, she said. Okay, and we are tethered. So I'm just going to take a quick test shot and see how that goes. Again, I'm at f5.6. I'm at 1/250th of a second, ISO 400, and flash white balance. So move that way 3 inches, just the whole body that way. There we go. All right, show me that smiley, happy face. Cool. And let's see where we're at from an exposure standpoint. And it's a little bit hot. So let's talk through real quick. What are the issues with this photo? Well, overall, I'd say it's a little bit bright. We also have a lot of reflection in the glasses. See that reflection? So let's talk about the brightness issue first. I'm just going to drop everything down. I can do that 2 ways. I can go to each flash and drop them down in power, or I can change my ISO and go from 400 to 200. And just to mix things up a little bit today to show you the different options, I'm just going to change ISO. So I'll push my ISO button, and I'm just going to drop that down to ISO 200. Those flashes are still at 1/16 power. Well, the next thing that we have to deal with is the reflection. And so we have to figure out how to get her glasses configured in such a way that we don't get the reflection. So what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you tilt the back of your glasses up just like this, just a little bit. Will they go up and stay there? Yeah.
How's that?
That's perfect. And then look straight at me. Keep your nose kind of pointed right at me. All right, shine that happy smile at me. And another one. All right, I'm gonna have you move your nose towards me again, right there. Perfect. Okay, took 3 shots there. Typically, when I'm shooting in the studio, I'm firing off rapidly, bam, 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 just because the expression changes so rapidly when you're doing portraiture. There we go. Mo better? A little bit of reflection in the side of the glasses there, but I'm okay with that. So the solution, or a solution to dealing with reflection in glasses, is just tilt them. Just tilt them just like this. That's so helpful. And then I had her look right at me because this flash from this angle would reflect off of her glasses and then go over there. Versus when her face was like this way towards the flash was shining on that and then going right into the lens of the camera. So that's good. So how do you feel about the happiness, the vibrance, the brightness of this image?
Good.
Okay, good. All right, now notice the shadows on the background. We don't have a lot of shadows there, fine. And the reason why is because we are using a little bit larger diffusion source and I'm using 2 lights. If I turned off the second fill light, we might get a little bit of shadow over her, it's on the right side of the frame on that shoulder, her left shoulder, our right as we view it. But I'm pretty happy with that image. Let's take another shot. In this case, so this was key and fill. I'm going to reduce fill, the fill light. I'm going to drop that thing way down, really low. So let's do this. And I'm just going to push the power adjust button, and I'm going to drop that down to 1/128th power. All right, so we were at 16th, and now we're at 128th power. I'm going to bring this up just a little bit higher. You know what? This thing is wobbly on here. It's making me nervous. All right, tighten it down. Okay, cool. Same shot, different power on the fill. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that one's coming in. There we go. And you see what a dramatic difference it made. We dropped the fill light down pretty low. You see the shadow over her shoulder. I need the whole scene to be brighter. Overall, the whole scene needs to be brightened up, right? Solution, ISO. So I'll just bring my ISO back up to 400. I could also go to each flash and increase the power of the flash, but it's quick to do it here on the camera. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Great. Did it feel like both flashes went off?
I couldn't tell.
All right. They're not beeping at me, but I think they both went off. Oh, yeah. They both went off. Much brighter on that one. So we're close to the background. We got the shadow. Now it's a little bit more of a darker, more mysterious look because I made that fill light have much less power. The next lighting arrangement I want to do is the key light with, I think I have rim. Yeah, key light with rim light. Okay, I'll throw this down. Here, grab my key light. We're going to basically do the same thing with the key. No significant changes here. Key light just about like that. A lot of times I like to actually kind of put my head close to the subject's head just to get a feel for whether or not it's all aligned properly, and I'm happy with that. Also, I like hanging out with my subjects, being close. Next is the rim light or the hair light. So you need to make a decision. What side do you want that rim light to hit? Now, let's say you're standing just like this, okay? So the key light's over there. If I put the rim light on this side, the rim light is actually going to spill around her body. And it's not going to really be a rim light anymore. It's going to be more like a full body light. So maybe what I'll do is I'll have her turn this way, go ahead and rotate like that. Ah, cool. Now the key light is lighting the front of her body, and the rim light is literally just going to be this here. Let's see what that looks like. You want the rim light or the rim light, the background, the hair light, to basically be out of frame, but not so far away that it loses its effectiveness. So there's a little bit of a balance here of lining it up, and I might have to change it in just a second. Typically also, we have this pretty high, and I only used a 6-foot stand on this one. I probably should have used an 8-footer, but that's okay. And I shine that just about like that. Power. The key light, if you recall, was at 1/16 power. Typically for the rim light, it needs to be equal or brighter than that key light. So I'm probably going to put this at 1/8 power. So again, that one's at 16th. I'm going to put this at 1/8 because you really want to separate her from the background. And that's what this allows you to do by pumping a lot of energy through this. It'll provide good separation. So there we are, 1/8 power. Time to take a picture. I'm still ISO 400. I'm at f5.6. And now you get a feel for the size of the studio that you need. We're 8-10 feet away, and I'm backed up another 10 feet. So we're about 18-20 feet from the backdrop. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, totally different look, huh? Just completely different. Different feel. The background has faded away because we've moved away from that backdrop. See that rim light over her shoulder and the hair? That's pretty cool. It's a nice look. I used an umbrella for that. So the umbrella softened it and made it look nice and gentle. See how the light wraps over her shoulder a little bit? That's what the umbrella gives you, because it's basically the light's emanating from a low position and a high position. So how do you feel about this photo? You want it brighter, darker?
Personally, I would go maybe a little bit lighter.
Okay, she wants it a little bit brighter, a little bit happier. And I agree with you. It looks a little bit intimidating. And you don't strike me as that type of person. So how do I do that? Well, how do I make her less intimidating looking? I'm gonna increase the power in this just a little bit, but also I'm gonna move it so it's more in line with the camera. And that will reduce the shadow off the side. So we'll bring this up, not too much. I'll bring it up to 1/16, or it's going to end up being 1/8 minus a third, which is 1/16 plus 2/3. Some of you are watching like, stop it with all those fractions. But that's what you got to think through as a photographer. 1/8 minus a third is the same as 1/16 plus 2/3. That'll come with time and experience. You'll get comfortable with it. And I'm going to shoot it a little bit more in line with the camera. And I put my lens right up next to it. And here we go, 1, 2, 3. Great. And I realized I got that background umbrella in there one more time. Ah, big difference, huh? A big, big difference. So moving the light more in line with her face, I reduced the shadow off of that side, and then increased the brightness a little bit. I got a little reflection in the glasses. Okay, fine. Let's go to key light with background light. All right, so you can stay right there. Drop off the camera, try to keep that USB cable connected well. So in this case, what's going through my mind is I like that background. The background's pretty cool, so I'm gonna light it. And so I need to light it to get the effect that I'm after. It's brick. I like the texture of the brick. The brick is actually kind of cool. So in order for that texture to kind of come out in the photograph, you have to side light it. You need to light that brick with a low angle light. In other words, that background light should be something like this, where the light is basically sweeping across this, showing me the texture and the detail, the valleys and the high portions of that. Okay, so we'll do that, and then I'll show you another way to light that backdrop with a snoot, where we really constrict the light to a small area. So let's try this, see how it works. I think that previous shot was maybe slightly bright, just a tiny bit, a third of a stop too bright. So I'm going to drop down another third. This is what I love about digital. In real time, you just sit here and go, a little brighter, a little darker. Okay, here we go. Let's see how this one turns out. 1, 2, 3. Interesting, huh? So the light on her face is still, I'll say, good. It's a good exposure for her face. It's not too intimidating. Yeah, maybe I could use a bigger umbrella to wrap the light around her face a little bit more. How about that backdrop, the background? Too bright, not bright enough? I see a lot of meh in the room. It's not really that appealing. I think maybe what we could do is reduce the power of the background light a little bit, because right now it's a little bit overpowering. And what that'll do is also give me a little bit more texture. I like the fade from brightness to dark, from right to left. Sometimes that's good. If you didn't like the fade, well, then you would need to add a second background light. So I'll just drop down the power of that a little bit. I'm currently at 1/8. I'll drop that down. I'll drop it a full stop to 1/16 power. Good, we're still connected. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, you know what? I put you on the wrong side of the frame. 1, 2, 3. Okay, good. A little bit more moody. You see a little bit of texture there in the brick. Again, just experimenting. Maybe a different color, like a gel on that backdrop. A gel on the background could look kind of cool. Why don't we show you what a snoot would do for that background light? So right now, we're shooting that umbrella. The light's going everywhere. Like I said earlier, it's kind of a light grenade. So let's use a snoot to keep the light in a very specific area. So this one, I've got a Nikon SB910, and I've got that Yongnuo radio trigger here, and then I've got the snoot there on the top, and I also have the grid on the snoot to keep it in even tighter area. So I'll throw this on a light stand. Throw it on this one. And yes, this is a background light, but I may not actually put it in the background. I might put it at her body position, or sometimes even front. It just depends on how far that snoot throws the light. Okay. Some flashes, when you buy them, they have a modeling light, and that modeling light can be very helpful. So I can actually push that modeling light and position the light as it throws onto the wall. This is probably going to be kind of hard for the studio cameras to pick up, but there we go. See if that works. So this one is at 1/16 power minus 2/3. Let's just see if it works. What do you think? It's gonna work? Sure.
You're going to leave the other one on too?
Oh, thank you. It's always good to have a model who is intelligently watching your photography, make sure you're doing everything right. Yeah, I need to turn that one off. Power that one down. Thank you. So, let's see how this comes out. It's fun. Oh, cool. So you see now the position of that light is just a little bit off. In other words, I would like it to be right behind her head to kind of create a little bit of a halo behind her head. It's a little bit too low, so don't move at all, okay? Did you move? And I'm just gonna position this up with the modeling light on. Okay, let's see how that works. Notice also how that snoot doesn't give me a perfectly round background light. That bothers me a little bit. I might actually take off the grid on the front and see if I get a cleaner circle. 1, 2, 3. Okay, positioned about right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take the grid off and see if I get a rounder or more of a circle there in the background. You know, when I was starting photography, I always assumed professional photographers kind of just thought in their brains what they wanted. They set up the lights, they took the picture, and they were done. And it wasn't until doing this for a number of years that I realized this is an iterative process. It's take a shot, take a look, take a shot, take a look. And it's okay to go back and forth. Hopefully your model's okay with it too. All right, so now we took the grid off. Huh, interesting. So one of the things that we're noticing is that this flash, the Nikon flashes have a kind of a rectangular head. I'll show, let me grab this. Can I reach? There we go. This rectangular head, even though we are going through a snoot, is still giving us a little bit of a rectangular light. So sometimes that's why we use something like a pro photo, because a pro photo actually has a round surface area on the front, and you can actually get a perfectly circular background light.